Hi guys! So today we're going to continue reading the chapter book story called Afternoon on the Amazon. It is book 6 of the Magic Treehouse series by Mary Pope Osborne. So in a previous video I read chapters 1 through 3, and Jack and Annie had gotten into the treehouse and noticed that they found the book open to the rainforest and they wished to go there. And they arrived, and Annie almost jumped out of the treehouse thinking that she was on the ground floor, but Jack cautioned her and pulled her back in because he realized that they're at the top of the trees and she would have fallen 150 feet down to the ground. So they are on their way down out of the treehouse and where we left off. So all right, I think we can move on. So we're on chapter 4, millions of them. Millions of what? So, and remember, when a picture comes by, I'll make sure to show it to you. So, Jack didn't move. He kept staring down at the forest floor. "What's wrong?" Annie called from above. Jack didn't answer. "You don't see any giant spiders, do you?" "Well, no." Jack took a deep breath. "We have to keep going," he thought. "We have to find the special thing for Morgan." "No spiders, nothing scary." And then he started to go down the ladder again. Jack and Annie climbed down through the understory, and finally they stepped onto the forest floor. Only a few rays of light slanted through the gloom. The trees were very, very tall and very wide. Vines and moss were hanging everywhere. The ground was covered with dead leaves. "Before we do anything, I'd better check the book," said Jack. He pulled out the rainforest book. He found a picture of the dark world under the treetops. It read, "In the rainforest, many living creatures blend in with their surroundings. This is called camouflage." "Oh, man," said Jack. He closed the book and he looked around. "There's tons of creatures down here. We just can't see them." "Really?" whispered Annie. She and Jack peered around at the quiet forest. Jack felt some unseen eyes watching them. "Let's hurry and find the special thing." "But how will we know when we find it?" "I think we'll just know." She headed off through the gloom. Jack followed. They crept between the huge trees and past hanging vines. Annie stopped. "Wait, what's that?" "What's what?" "Listen, that weird sound." Jack listened. He heard a crackling sound. It sounded like a person walking over leaves. Jack looked around. He didn't see anyone, but the sound got louder. Was it an animal? A giant bug? One that's never been named before. Just then, the silent forest came alive. Birds were taking off into the air, frogs hopping over the leaves, lizards ran up the tree trunks, and the weird noise just continued to grow louder and louder. Maybe the book explains it," said Jack. He opened the book and he found a picture of different animals running together. He read, "When animals hear a crackling sound, they flee in panic." Flee meaning like to run very quickly. "The sound means that 30 million flesh-eating army ants are marching through the dead leaves." What? 30 million flesh-eating. This is your flesh, the skin, like your layer. Eating army ants are just crawling up. So why do you think all those animals are running away? Because they don't want to be eaten by the ants. That's kind of scary. "It's army ants!" cried Jack. "Millions of them!" "Where?" cried Annie. Jack and Annie looked around wildly. "There!" she pointed. "Oh my goodness." So you see the animals running away. Army ants! Millions and millions of them were marching over the leaves. "Run to the treehouse!" "Where is it?" said Jack, whirling around. "All the trees look the same." Where was the rope ladder? Just run! Cried Annie, and Jack and Annie took off. They ran over the dead leaves. They ran between wide tree trunks. They ran past the hanging vines and mosses. They climbed over the thick roots. Jack saw a clearing ahead. It was filled with sunlight. That way, he cried. Jack and Annie hurried toward the light. They pushed their way through the bushes. They burst onto the bank of a river. They stared at the slow-moving brown water. Do you think the ants will come this way? She said, panting, because they've been running, so she's tired. I don't know, said Jack. But what if we wade a few feet into the water? What if we wade a few feet into the water? We're safe. The ants won't go into the water. Come on. Look, said Annie. She pointed to a big log rocking at the edge of the river. The inside of the log was dug out. It looks like a canoe. He listened to the crackling sound in the distance. Let's get in, quick. Jack shoved the book into his backpack, and then he and Annie carefully climbed into the dugout log. Annie leaned out of it. She pushed away from the bank with her hands. Wait! We don't have paddles. Oops, said Annie. The canoe started moving slowly down the muddy river. Why are paddles important on a boat like a canoe? Why is that important? Right? It guides them in the right direction. They use the paddles to help lead them in the direction that they want to go. So not having paddles on the river, you're pretty much going wherever the river takes you. Is that a good idea? No. Let's see what happens to Annie. Right? I'm sure they'll be okay. Right? Do you think? Let's find out. Chapter 5. Pretty Fish. Squeak! Oh, Annie patted the little mouse in her pocket. It's okay, Peanut. The ants can't get us in the river. We're safe. Maybe safe from the ants, but where is this canoe going? Jack and Annie stared at the river. Branches spread over the water, and vines and mosses hung down from them. We'd better look this up. He pulled the rainforest book out of his backpack and he flipped through it. Soon he found a picture of a river. He read, The Amazon River stretches over 4,000 miles from the mountains of Peru across Brazil to the Atlantic Ocean. The river basin contains over half of the rainforests in the world. Jack looked at Annie. We're on the Amazon River. It's more than 4,000 miles long. It's actually one of the longest rivers in the world. Wow, Annie whispered. She looked at the river. She trailed her hand through the water. I have to make some notes, he said. He pulled his notebook out of his pack and he wrote, The Amazon rainforest is... Jack, look at all these pretty fish that with the teeth. What? Jack glanced up from his writing. Pretty fish with the teeth? Do you know what fish those are? Annie was pointing at some blue fish swimming near the boat. The fish had red bellies and razor-sharp teeth. Oh, does anyone know what those are? Watch it, cried Jack. Those aren't pretty fish. They're piranhas. They'll eat anything, even people. Yikes! We better get back on shore, said Jack, putting the book in his backpack. How? We can't go in the water now. We don't have any paddles. Jack tried to stay calm. We need a plan. Jack stared at the river. The canoe would soon float under some vines. I'll grab a vine and pull us to shore. Good idea. As they glided under the branches, Jack stood up. The canoe rocked. He nearly fell out. Ooh. Balance the canoe, said Jack. Annie leaned to one side, and Jack reached, but he missed. The canoe floated under more branches. Jack reached for another thick vine. He grabbed it. It was cold and scaly, and it wiggled and jerked. What? What kind of vine would wiggle and jerk, and it's cold and scaly? Ow! Jack screamed and fell back into the canoe. The vine was alive. It was a long green snake. The snake fell from the tree and it splashed into the water and swam away. Oh, man, said Jack. He and Annie stared in horror at each other. "What now?" said Annie, making a face. "Well," Jack looked at the river. "There were no vines up ahead, but there was a big branch floating on the water." "Grab that branch near you. Maybe we can use it for a paddle." The canoe floated closer to the branch, and then Annie reached for it. Suddenly, the branch just rose into the air. It was not a branch. It was a crocodile. "Help!" screamed Annie, and she fell back into the canoe. Like that right there. The crocodile opened and closed its long jaws. Then it moved past the canoe and swam up the river. "Oh, man," whispered Jack. A screeching sound split the air. Jack and Annie jumped. "Help!" said Jack. He expected to see another terrible creature, but all he saw was a small brown monkey hanging by its tail from a tree. Let's see. Chapter 6, Monkey Trouble. Squeak, squeak. Peanut poked her head out from Annie's pocket. She seemed to be yelling at the monkey. "Don't worry, Peanut. He's just a little monkey. He won't hurt us." But suddenly the monkey grabbed a big red fruit hanging from the tree. He hurled it at the canoe. "Watch it!" shouted Jack. The fruit fell into the water with a splash. The monkey screeched even louder. He grabbed another fruit. "Rah, rah." "Don't throw things at us!" shouted Annie. But the monkey just hurled the red fruit at them. Jack and Annie ducked again, and the fruit splashed into the water. "Stop that!" But the monkey only waved his arms and screeched again. "Arr, arr, arr." "Oh, brother, I don't believe this." The monkey grabbed a third fruit and hurled it at Jack and Annie. It landed inside the canoe with a thump. Annie grabbed the fruit and she stood up and she threw it back at the monkey. She missed, and the canoe rocked, and Annie almost fell out. "Ooh!" The monkey screeched even louder. "Arr, arr." "Go away! You're the meanest thing in the world!" The monkey stopped screeching. He looked at Annie, then he swung away into the forest. "Oh, I think I hurt its feelings." "Who cares? He shouldn't throw things." "Uh-oh. It's raining now," said Annie. "What?" Jack looked up. A raindrop hit him in the eye. "Oh, no, I don't believe this." "What'd you expect? It is a rainforest." A gust of wind blew the canoe. Thunder rolled in the sky. "Oh, a river's a bad place to be in a storm. We have to get back to shore right now." "But how? We can't wade or swim. The piranhas, the snake, the crocodile will get us." Screeching split the air again. Oh no, the bratty monkey was back. This time the monkey was pointing a long stick at the canoe. Jack crouched down. Was the monkey going to hurl the stick at them? Like a spear? Ooh, Annie jumped up and she faced the monkey. "Watch it, he's nuts," said Jack. But the monkey just stared at Annie, and Annie just stared at him. After a long moment, the monkey seemed to smile. Annie smiled back. "What's going on?" said Jack. "He wants to help us." "Help us how?" The monkey held out the long stick. Annie grabbed the other end. The monkey pulled on the stick. The canoe started floating towards him. The monkey pulled the canoe all the way to the bank of the river. So, before the monkey was throwing things at them, and now he's helping bring them over to the shore. So, I wonder why he did all that. It's like a Sour Patch Kid. First they're salty, then they're sweet. So they do the bad things first, and then they do all the good things to make you feel better and forget about all the bad things they did. It's like a Sour Patch Kid. I don't know. That's our guess, right? About the monkey. I guess we'll have to find out if the monkey's really there to help them or not. So we're going to pause right there for today. We'll do chapter 7 next time, which is called Freeze. So So freeze in the jungle? That should be interesting. All right. Well, thank you for joining me for another story time. I will see you guys later. Bye.